Good evening, everyone. It's 5:32, and I call this public hearing of the San Benito CISD Board of Trustees to order at exactly 5:32. Roll call, Mr. Ramiro Moreno, present. Ms. Janie Lopez.
Present.
Mr. Oscar Medrano.
Present.
Mr. Rudy Corona.
Present.
Dr. Ariel Cruz.
Present.
Mr. Orlando Lopez.
Present.
Mr. Mario Silva.
Present.
Dr. Nate Carmen.
Present.
Mr. Stephen Weller.
Present.
All right. At this point, we have established a quorum, and the next item on the agenda is 1.2, public comment. However, I'm going to make a recommendation because item 1.3 is discussion and presentation of the San Benito CISD's proposed tax rate. So I'm going to recommend that we switch those two agenda items so that we can hear the presentation of the proposed tax rate and then allow the audience an opportunity to comment or ask any questions that they may have. So at this point, do I have a motion? Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Silva
Second.
and a second by Mr. Lopez. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0, motion carries. Go Hounds, Mr. Lopez. All right, so we begin, we'll give Ms. Vicky, I believe, the opportunity, item 1.3, discussion and presentation of San Benito CISD's proposed tax rate. 7-0, motion carries. Go Hounds, Mr. Lopez.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
So we have a PowerPoint, and you have a couple of attachments. The attachments under the policy are the ones that we discussed last week. I just kept it on there as information. And then the other attachment are the two ads that we put out. One of them was for the San Benito News, which was published on September 3rd. And one was for the Valley Morning Star, which was published on September 2nd, and that satisfies our requirements for public hearing. And then the other attachment are the two ads that we put out. One of them was for the San Benito News, which was published so the first slide, September 3rd. And all I'm going to do is basically go over the advertisement that was on the paper. So the first slide, we have the notice of public hearing held today, September 14th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. And it notes the maintenance tax rate at being $1.025 per $100 valuation. And the approved debt service tax, well, the recommended debt service tax is $0.2799 per $100 valuation. My clicker doesn't want to work. There we go. On the next slide, we have the appraised value for the property. I will go over the current tax year. So the total appraised value for the current tax year is $1,779,521,452.
That was $779 million.
$779,521,452. Thank you, sir. The new property is the $25,015,955,000. Excuse me, those are a lot of numbers. I'm sorry. The taxable value on this property is $1,294,782,187. And we do have to list our bond indebtedness. This is our principal amount, not the interest part of it, and that is $90,725,000. On the next slide, just below on that ad, is the proposed rate. Under maintenance and operations, $1.025. Under interest and sinking, $0.2799 for a total of $1.3049 for a total, that is, I'm sorry, per $100 valuation. So that brings our state revenue per student to $9,996. So on the bottom part of that, it talks about the market value, taxable values, and so that's the part that affects us individually in the community. The taxable value, and this is an average, the average taxable value is $53,916. And at $1.3049, that looks like through $703.55 for a total increase of $19.03 total. Now, that is not a tax increase, that is a property value increase. And that concludes our public hearing portion of the presentation. And I am open for any comments or questions.
I have just a clarification. Taxes due on average residents was $684.52, and now this year it's $703.55, so hence that's where the $1903 comes from, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Last year's average taxable payment was $684, and this year will be $703.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Board
sir.
members, any questions? Okay.
Yes, Ms. Vicky, I got a quick question, just for clarification, or just to let the public know, and our constituents as well. When was the last time the school district raised taxes, ma'am?
I don't even, not in my knowledge have we raised taxes that I can think of. I went back as far as 8 years. Probably the last one was maybe with the tax rate, the TRE, and that was voter approved. That's the last time that I can think of, but it's been the same rate.
Very good.
Thanks for the clarification, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this time, do we have any comments or any concerns from our audience?
Actually, I do have some questions
All right.
and some comments as well.
Okay.
I know that you all said the tax rate has not increased. However, when has it decreased? When was the last time it decreased?
I don't recall it decreasing. I remember possibly the last time that it increased was the TRE that we had. Other than that, it's been steady for the last few years.
For at least 8 years,
That
you're
I
saying?
know of, yes.
Right, okay. And the reason I'm asking is because I've seen other school districts that they lower their taxes, and we have been at the same tax rate. And I think that being that our property value increase for our taxpayers, my view would be that if we can give the taxpayers a decrease, that we should. You know, we have, and I was just looking at the current census, the 2020 census, our average income, our median income here in San Benito is only at $27,000. Yeah, I know we have some people that are retired, we have some professionals here in San Benito, but overall, when you look at the average median income here in San Benito is only $27,000. And then when you look at the per capita, that changes to only $13,000. That means that on average this past year, our taxpayers were earning about $13,000 in San Benito, with our population of about 28,000 people. So I am going to recommend to the school district to look into lowering taxes. And I know that last time at the committee meeting, you mentioned, Ms. Perez, that this year, because the budget had already been in place, and it was already accepted, and you budgeted everything in the school district based on that tax rate that we currently have, that it's not a possibility to change the tax rate this year, to lower it. However, I am going to recommend to the school district and to the board that we look into, we talk to professionals or experts in finance and even in our attorney, and see how we can lower the tax rate for next year for our constituents.
Okay.
Okay, and then just to give you all some numbers here, we got local school districts that have gone down within the past years. You got others that are at, you said, I think ours is 1.25, is that correct? Total?
On the M&O side, yes, 1.025.
But total?
Total is 1.3049.
1.03049.
1.3049.
Correct.
Okay, 1.30, let's average that out, round it out. 1.30, when we have other entities next to us that are at 1.18, 1.21, 1.25, and I can name the school districts if y'all want, but I don't think we need to. 1.02. So there are other districts that are neighboring to us that are way lower than us, and some of them do have the same amount of students that we have, you know, and some are smaller, but still they have a smaller tax rate, right? So whatever we can do to look into that for our taxpayers, I would greatly appreciate it.
I can say that I know that some of the school districts that are nearby us are Chapter 42s. They're the property wealth districts, and the more tax rates, the higher tax rate they have, the more money they are gonna get back into their schools, but it also goes straight to the state. It goes to recapturing, to the recapture funds. So, one specifically, their tax rate is set at a very low rate, the $2 that I know of, and they still pay about $30 million in recapture. So their rates are not just low because they can afford it. I mean, it's low because if they get any more, they're not gonna gain anything off of it. But that's just off of one district. So yes, we will get some information, see how it'll affect us, see how it'll affect our overall budget for you.
Rather than
Thank you,
lower,
ma'am.
rather than lower the tax rate, because if we lower the tax rate, that affects the money that the state gives the school district, can we look, I know that we give tax breaks for submitting early. Can we look at other programs that might be able to give some tax breaks to some people and not necessarily lower the tax,
We can look
Right.
at the different rates that we have.
the different breaks, like
Yes,
tax
the
breaks?
different breaks, the rates that we have on our discounts, we can look at several different options.
Okay,
Currently, the
that-
breaks that we, I'm sorry, currently, the breaks that we have are dependent on when the taxpayer pays. The earlier they pay, the more of a break they're receiving, correct?
Correct.
All right.
And that overall discount, it's about $300,000 that it cost the district. It's a small amount compared to the amount of collections, the higher tax collection rate that we have overall. So that is definitely an option that we can consider.
Yeah, Mr. Cat, I think what we need to do, first and foremost, is really dissect this whole situation, because there's a lot that goes into it. You know, you move one penny, or you do what you need to do, but, you know, at the end of the day, I think what we need to do as a board is come together and figure out what we need to do as far as if we can, or if we can, and what are the options. It's not as easy as just saying we're gonna lower it down, because it's gonna affect everything, you know, across the landscape of our financial situation here. It took us a long time to get to this point. So I think what we need to do is, it's like Mr. Moreno said, and like Ariel, everybody has ideas of what we need to do and how we need to do it, but I think we need to break down this whole matrix and figure out how we can do it, if possible, you know, because I know we're, you know, we haven't raised taxes in 8 years. I know other districts do what they need to do, but there's other circumstances in those districts that unfortunately, you know, we don't know about or whatever. You know, so I think that's what we need to do, is really dissect it and look into it and see what we need to do. Thank you, ma'am, appreciate it.
Thank you.
And just to clarify as well, I think that's basically what Ms. Lopez is trying to say as well. We, you know, here at the board, we need to respect everybody's opinions. And basically, you know, we had Ms. Lopez give an opinion, we had Dr. Cruz give her opinion. And again, to reiterate what Mr. Lopez said as well, that's what the opinions were. You know, that we need to look at it together as a board and make any type of decisions based on the evidence and based on the recommendations that your office makes.
Okay.
But I think that's the gist of what we're discussing right now, that we are all entitled to opinions and we need to work together as a board. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
This is more for the community. We keep hearing about the tax and no tax increase, but like recently, I moved into a new house, and there I have the appraisal district. They want to look at what's improvements we've had. And I think I'm correct, I might be wrong, but we have big projects going with that bond program. Those facilities in La Gallina area, that's gonna be that's a 30 million or less. All three of them are 30 million. We already know, I think, that property values are gonna go up once that's completed in 2 years. And before that, after 2 years, we know, I feel, that we are gonna have a tax increase for that area there in La Gallina to know, I believe their property values are gonna go up, because that's a big project that's going on there. So even though we had no tax increase for the bond, and not that I was against the project, it was the 30 million. And the tax increase, I think, will come once those projects are completed, which is good, more tax increase, but it's bad also, you know, for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Garcia. Ms. Garcia? Anyone else in our audience?
I'm not from, wherever those buildings are going up, we're gonna erect them, but let's be real, it's poverty. And I know that you all did say we have a break in the months that you give them, you're saying if you pay on time, you get, less interest or whatever. But you know that people here wait till the last minute financially. Once again, they don't have these high wage jobs and stuff that they do have a great amount of income. So by the time that they wait, which usually people wait, and if you do the data on it and you look it up, numbers, since we're gonna dissect and research everything, hopefully we do it correctly, we do see that people wait till the very end, and by then, how much of it has gone up? And it's not fair to the community, but they don't wait because they want to, financially they can't. So it does, I do think that considering at the beginning how she said, oh, we give those breaks, no, a decrease would be good. And I don't even live in this part, but a lot of the people don't know how much it's gonna go up for them, and can they afford it? And if they can't, what's gonna happen to them? Are we just thinking of what's gonna happen to our buildings or to the people?
Thank you, Ms. Villarreal. Anyone else in our audience that would like to make a comment or express a concern?
Okay, as far as the tax rate goes, I've been in a whole bunch of different areas. The major concern here is the effects that Corona had on us, the COVID did, is that everybody had a little bit of time to do something on their house. They cleaned up their yard. They made it more street presentable. They were keeping themselves busy. The problem is not necessarily with the school board rate. You and the community need to be talking to the people that are doing the appraising. Some of these are very unexpected increases in property value to people, and they feel they didn't do that much to increase the thing. The bad thing about all of that is that, we have no control over the appraisal part. The best we can do is what we are doing, and you are keeping it stable so that people can actually project. You paid this much last year, so you can start projecting and budgeting into it. And one of the things you may want to consider is if somebody's willing to do a payment plan. Okay, you're going to pay $700 for this upcoming year. Okay, so that means you're going to pay $65 a month, or you'll pay $70 a month. Just make it as a normal thing. That way, and you could actually give them a discount if they go into a thing like that. It's something to consider. But if they're really concerned about it, they need to be talking, not to you guys, they need to be talking to the county for the appraisal part, because as far as the school part, and again, can't really make any changes this year because September 30th doesn't give you enough time to figure out just how much of a backlash you're going to get. But you do need to consider when you're looking at that we got penalized last year because we got federal money, and the state said, okay, great, you got this much, we'll take that much, because you don't need it, it was done. You take off your taxes, the state's gonna say, oh, you don't need this, we'll take this much. So, as a round the robin type deal, it's not as simple. You've got a basket of snakes in front of you. Just be careful reaching in, because the changes may not be what you think it is. Yeah, it sounds good on paper, but when you actually get into looking at it, you're going to have some rather unpleasant experiences with it. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maney. Anyone else? Okay, by your silence, I take that as a no. So at this point, do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay, motion made by Mr. Lopez, seconded by Mr. Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0, motion carries. Okay, so we adjourn this meeting at 5:52.